Hello, 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 Facebook and beyond. How are you all this evening? It's a full moon, it's midweek, and I have got an incredible guest to join me tonight on Women Talking Wellness. Now, if it's not Wednesday where you are and there's no full moon, it's highly likely that you're watching this on the replay. So, hey, and thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and type replay in the comments so that I know you found us, and maybe share something that has inspired you as you've listened, or just a great takeaway that you got as we chatted this evening. Now, I want to start tonight by asking a question. Are you truly living an authentic life? In fact, do you even know what that means? Because it means very different things to different people. Well, tonight, Donna and I are going to be chatting about this question and so much more because we're both Scottish and our conversations, let's just say, meander. So, who is this Donna Giffen woman? Well, she is a Scot, just like me, who's ticked off a pretty impressive list of achievements in her lifetime so far. And I know she has got a lot more to go. Some of her achievements include musical theatre, she's a presenter, a singer, a Zumba legend, and she's also the founder of Rebel Soul Productions, which includes one of my absolute favourites, Rebel Soulwear, which is an inspirational clothing brand. And as if that's not enough, she's got a couple of books on the way, one to cover what you put in your mouth, and one that covers what comes out of it. Intrigued? You should go and check her out. Now, we are live, we are unplanned. It's full moon, and this conversation could go anywhere. So, without further ado, I am bringing in the wonderful Donna Giffen. Hey, Donna.
Hi. Please
Thank
don't
you.
jinx us.
Thank you so much. First of all, for joining us, not just for joining us, but for joining us today of all days. The old full moon is in effect, and I don't know if you've had the same week that I have, but the emotional roller coaster has been wild to say the least. So
A little bit.
so I am not only grateful that you've agreed to come and join us tonight, but super grateful that you also decided to roll the dice on full moon as well. So
I think it's the best day to do it.
you think so? We'll find out in about an hour. We'll see how
We'll see.
tonight goes. So Donna and I got together last week and had a little I don't know, would you call it a pre-chat chat?
Probably it
Um
was supposed to be 5 minutes to just go over stuff and it ended up an hour and a half. It was
2 hours
awesome.
or something, yeah. And I've got to be honest with you guys. If I had thought about it, 100% would have recorded our pre-chat chat because there was some absolute gold in there. It was a joy. But during our conversation, we were looking at, what did we want to put out to the world this evening, and the thing that came up for both of us, we were both 40 something ladies, and the words that were coming up for us last week were authentic living, how to be authentic when you are over the age of 40 and female. And I've been thinking about that a lot over the course of this week, and one of the things I guess that's come up for me is actually that whole phrase, that whole sentence has different meaning to different people. It's gonna, you're going to hear that, you're going to think something. I have an interpretation of this. Donna has an interpretation of this. Um, so I guess we want to begin tonight by, kind of not clarifying because it is different for everybody, but what does living authentically over the age of 40 mean to you? And
Oh,
you can
one.
answer. You can all answer in the comments as well. No pressure on Donna. So if you've got some ideas on this, stick it in the comments.
Start with the big one. Start with the big one.
Yeah, no, right in there.
It's interesting just when you were talking, the fact that we put things out there that are over the age of, or in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, like there should be differences, because we're saying, that obviously when we were chatting, so the age is just a number and it's such a common thing to throw around. So who cares? Why should we talk about something in our 40s? But I think it is a point where It's so significant, and for women particularly. I remember when I turned, I was distraught when I turned 19. I was at 19, I was like, no! But then I was like, oh, I'm going to be 21. So 21 was quite cool. Yeah. But then I was working, I remember I was in a show on my 21st birthday, I was touring with a musical theatre production of Barnum. And I remember the minimum age of the others were 25. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, you guys are so old. Yeah. 25 was actually cool. And then 26 was like, oh. 29 was, oh. 30 was like, actually, this is awesome. Then something happens, I think, for women in their 30s, around 33, 34, something changes and it becomes okay to be that age. I think we dread all these posts, these goalposts age-wise when we're younger. But once we get to them, we actually realize a lot of really cool stuff comes with them. And I think one of the things as we get older, and particularly late 30s into 40s, you can't be anything but authentic because it's like a choker. You feel like you have a hand around your throat if you're not speaking your truth, walking your truth, being absolutely everything that you are, voicing it unapologetically. And it gets a point where anything you did have that was to present yourself a particular way, and not about being fake or false, but just to keep a peace, or to, I don't know, just keep this little flow going in your life and not rock things. You can't. You just can't by the time you get here. So I think we're going about. I think the visual of it is like the hair a mess, like mascara down your face, wearing whatever pants you're wearing, like it's just this whatever your expression of you at the time, unapologetically, and I think that's it's interesting, I think, for a lot of women to get to this point and say, I literally can't. So I think that's why a lot of people maybe seem to feel trapped as well, because we're so used to, and not being fake, it's not about, but I think living and acting a certain way to keep a peace more than anything else,
But you're right in what you say, acting. There's so, when we talk about being authentic, I think there's a lot of people who might be watching this right now that if you said to them, well, who are you? What is the authentic you? The answer is quite simply, I don't know, because they've been something else and they've been putting on that show for such a long time. They don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only liken it to when I split up from my one sort of significant relationship, lasted about 15 years, from when I was a teenager to when I was in my mid-30s. And I woke up in my mid-30s kind of going, can I put a roof over my head? Can I feed myself? Can I make friends? Because I'd never done any of those kind of adult things on my own, like ever in my entire adult life. And suddenly I was there going, do I actually like eating seafood? Because I actually think that might have been something that I picked up from this man that I was with for 15 years. Do I like listening to this piece of music? Because I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Suddenly started to discover like who I was as an individual. And I think there's a lot of people that really struggle to know who they are because they've been putting on this show for so long.
And also, I think we don't often take the time. So obviously, like that was a big chunk of your life. So something I posted, I don't think it was last year. I think it was maybe the end of the year. No, wait, I think it was just the end of. Wait, what year are we?
This is still 2020. I hate to tell you.
I'm trying to go back to when it was. So it was, I think it was maybe just last November. Anyway, so I did this post, and I had been in relationships since I was 15, but they were 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 2 years. So they were significant, but they were shorter, and with very little break in between. So you're just transferring a lot of stuff. You have no time to unpack in between to see who you are, what do you truly like, what have you learned, what needs to go, what needs to stay, because we evolve constantly, don't we, when we're in anything. And these partnerships that are teachers, are mirrors, and all the many wonderful ways in which they are. And so I decided, you know what? No more. That's it. A minimum, absolute minimum of a year, nothing. I'm staying. It was last year, so I'm staying completely single. This is what comes. So, and it was awesome. So I was like, I mean, I'd always done a lot of stuff myself anyway because I travelled a lot and I was very independent, but it's more so all the things you would do with another person, do with yourself. And I just don't think we very often have take the time to do that. What do I like? What movies do I want to see? What things do I want to eat? And you really, really refine, I think, who you are and where you're at without the reflection of somebody else and without having to cater for other people and do the dance that we do when we're in entanglement with anybody in any way. And I think that's something we don't take a lot of time to do. And I think age-wise as well, we do get to this point, I think after 36 towards 40, particularly into early 40s, where we have to. I think a lot, that's certainly the conversations I have with a lot of women particularly, is that they just need it. They need to take that time and find out who they are now. Because I think, wait, how do I have 20 years? Do I have 25 years? If you suddenly, because all this emphasis on this, like the latter third of your years, you're like, wait, what have I done? If something happened now, would I be happy? Would I have regrets? Would I have? It's funny how these goalposts in ages make you look at that, So I think it's so important to take the time to ourselves, and that's certainly what I've done now for the last 2.5 years. The only problem is it's addictive.
Yeah, yeah, that's so
like, oh yes, this is nice. Oh no, thank you.
Yeah, not having to sort of be responsible for anybody else's decisions. If you want to, like you say, if you want to go and watch that movie, or go to that restaurant, if you want to go to that particular holiday place and not have to trail someone with you who maybe doesn't want to be there, or doesn't get why you enjoy it so much. But I think we are probably very similar, and I imagine we probably know a lot of people who are very similar. But again, I'm thinking about the people who are watching us right now, especially as women. It's very challenging to do these things that you've just said on your own, because as a woman, to, I don't know, just walk into a bar and order a drink, there's a judgment around that. If that woman's there on her own, she's either there to hook up, or I'm not even sure. I don't know. Is there any other reason that a woman goes into a bar on her own? In people's heads. To go on holiday by yourself, to go to that dance class that you've always wanted to do, and to walk into that room on your own is really, really difficult for a lot of women in particular to do.
I suppose so. It's not something I can honestly completely relate to, because it's something I've always done. So I don't know. So yes, I suppose it will be maybe for a lot of people, and also even just taking the time to do that. If you have a family, if you have other commitments, where we're talking about it from a different perspective and an element of freedom that a lot of other women don't have. I suppose it's just, what do I want to do with my time? What makes me happy? And doing it regardless. And I think if we master the not a barrier, it's not about a barrier, but a little resonance, a little spray, a field that literally says, I'm here, I'm empowered, I'm looking forward to this. This is something I actually really, really want to do. And it's owning it and doing it, because I think we have a right to do it, regardless of other people's perceptions. In fact, that post I was talking about, that I posted last year, it was interesting because going into places to eat. So, that really common thing of just for one, just for, and it was interesting, like the one is less than the two, but just for one. And I got to this point where I started to recognize it a lot, and I was like, no, wholly and completely for one. And I would laugh and I would smile and joke around when I was saying it, and people were like, okay, I'm going to Wagamama's, just the one, no, wholly and completely the one. For a laugh. So it's something like that. Is like you are wholly and completely enough on your own, but this just for this thing, as if it's less than sharing it, with somebody else.
Only you, just yourself, just yourself tonight. Oh gosh, yeah, I've been there so
only
often.
Yeah, but I think it's hard for people to manage to take the time too, and also especially if you're already in a routine and your family and your familiars that are around you all the time are already in this routine of you not having that time. I think that's a harder place to take it back from.
It's a bigger step, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because then you're convincing of other people what of the changes you have to make, and they have to adjust as well. So I think that's
Yeah, and
harder.
people don't like to do that, do they? If you
Good luck.
are joining us this evening, I'm Lorna Green, and I'm with the ridiculously talented and wise beyond her years, Donna
Come
Giffen,
on.
to get to the bottom of this idea about living authentically. And the title was Living Authentically Over 40, but honestly, just living authentically in this world and how we do it. And one of the things that we've just been talking about is this idea of what does it mean to be authentic, and why is it so important to be true to yourself. And I've actually just reread a book. I don't know if you know it, the Courage to Be Disliked. um,
Mm.
it's a very weird, right. So you're all going to listen to this and go, oh, what does she do in her spare time? So this is what I do for jollies. I read Japanese philosophy books. Uh, it's a translation about Alderian philosophy, which is the sort of contemporary of Freud, and essentially, it's kind of all about that happiness is in your hands, and it's not actually attached to your past traumas, your past experiences, unlike the sort of Freudian philosophy that says that you are shaped by everything that's happened to you and gone before. And there's a really interesting line that I'd actually written it down because for some reason it felt like it was something that was gonna come up for us tonight. But it says, if you are disliked by someone, it's proof you're living in freedom, a clear sign you're living in accordance with your own principles. How
Mm.
powerful is that? And how many of us, as women in particular, have gone into a restaurant and had that, oh, just on your own, are you? And suddenly we want to apologize for making that decision to go and eat a meal by ourselves, or we want to say sorry for, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just here on my own at this, dance class or whatever it might be.
Do women do that?
Yeah, yeah, they
Mm.
do. Yeah, they do.
It's so interesting for me, like to hear this, to feel that people feel that they would maybe have to do that. But again, I think it's also about I wonder if so much of what we say as humans is just habit, isn't it? It's the things that come out without necessarily thinking about it. But we so much we read into it, because I suppose there's the other people's perception. Then it's got to get through our filter, isn't it? So I think the key is always like removing all the stuff that maybe allows us to perceive something in a very particular way, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
to allow us to be a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more accepting of people that maybe do say something in a particular way, because I think a lot of it is just a habitual way of talking, or something that maybe somebody who's bringing you to your seat would naturally say without necessarily thinking about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's so interesting that maybe that people do feel that, and I think it does personally make me feel very fortunate not to have experienced that, or to have had that.
Have you always felt like a powerful person? Like, if you looked at yourself at the age of 20 and you look at yourself now, are you still were you always that strong person, or is that something that you've evolved into?
I don't know if I see it as powerful. I think I've just never cared what anybody thought. Truly never. It's not somebody else's opinion of my. It's not something I give any thought to, unless you're in closely connected with somebody and our behaviors and our actions are affecting somebody, in the cycle of stuff. But in general, no, because I don't believe we should ever really uh, apologize for or explain who we are or what we do, or so.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not something I personally have ever felt the need to do.
Yeah. 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 You are getting a lot of love in the comments, Donna. I just need to tell you, Laura, thank you. She says, hi, Donna, you're a great woman. Vera has just said that is the best way. So there's a lot of women who are with you on this one. But for those people that are feeling maybe they feel a little small, maybe they feel
Yeah,
like they're struggling to 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 I don't know, to find their voice, to
yeah.
be heard. What would you say to someone?
I think the thing is, what one of the workshops I used to teach was called Unleash Your Personal Power.
Yeah.
And it's looking at the ways in which we are handing our power over to other people or situations each day. So the ways in which we are not living within our power,
Mm.
and it could be something like we're replaying maybe something in the past. We are worrying about certain things or imagining certain situations.
Yeah.
We our reactions. It's I'm Jack Canfield, who I absolutely love, author and speaker. So he has this whole little sequence. He says, uh, E plus R equals O. I had to think about that there. E plus R equals O. So there's the event plus our response
Yep.
equals the outcome, which I love. So that the event itself does not jump to the outcome. It's literally only the first part.
Yeah.
Our response is absolutely necessary to determine how something's going to go. So I think it's like how are we? And he says the word responsibility is about the ability to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So responsibility sounds heavy,
Mm.
but actually it means the ability to respond. And I think we don't often take that time in between something. So I think that moment of pause is really, really important, just to take that little bit of time to say, what are the ways in which I'm handing my power over to other people and other events?
Yeah.
What do I allow? What habits have I got into myself? And I think we actually start to see a lot of it is down to us. And that's quite fearful for a lot of people. I think realize, to be said, well, everything's your fault. You're the person that responds to everything. No, it's not about that. We're this bundle of conditions and habits, aren't we? So I think those are our habits too. So if we can pause and say, how am I responding to this? Because my power truly, truly is in what I do in this moment, and what somebody says. Maybe it could be like a comment,
Yeah.
something that somebody says about us. And this whole idea that we actually have to say, here you go, here's the power to make me feel bad, I allow you.
Mm-hmm.
That we literally have to hand it to them, because it's actually like this. If we can get to this place where everything that we have, this belief in our right to exist without apologizing, without asking permission,
Yeah.
without making excuses for who we are and what we do, say, but this is who I am, and I have one chance at this life, one, in this form.
Yes.
So I have one chance at doing this. So how do I want to live it? Because if I look back when I'm whatever age, and I think that's where these goalposts come in, right? Because 40, I think, is a big one for people to look back and say, wait. When we start to make these changes, to say, how am I living my life? How do I want to be? What am I likely to have regrets about?
Yeah.
And to take some power back from that and just actually start to apply these little things and write them down. I'm too old to do this. I don't have the right education. I don't have the right background. It's too late to start this. Well, these people wouldn't allow me to do this. Or, yeah, that's okay for you, because every single one of those is handing our power away. So look at the ways, the things we say, what we do, and actually be honest.
Yeah.
And take it back, and look at the places we can make changes in that.
Yeah. Leslie Ann has just said, love the saying, never give anyone the power to ruin your day. Thank you, Leslie. I think that is so true. You're absolutely right that it is down to us. You actually you wrote something in it was a full moon blog, because today is obviously
okay.
full moon. You wrote an article a few months back, and in it you were actually talking about responsibility and taking responsibility for both what you have and what you want. And if you want harmony, then be more harmonious. If you want love, be more loving out into the world. And it's very true that what you give out into the world, you get back tenfold, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the best ways to look at that, like, how you go into a day, because I know if I look back at my day and it maybe hasn't been the best day, I'm like, how did you start it? what did you take out into your day? because a lot of it is down to how I believe personally, like the attitude we have, the outlook that we have, the relationship that we have with ourselves first before we go into the day. And that doesn't change other people's behaviors. I'm not saying that, but it's like, I think a lot of it will alter how we are able to respond to the situations and, that happen, within our day. So the first thing we say when we wake up in the morning, what's the first thing we say? Do we have any morning rituals or habits?
Yeah.
Things like affirmations, I think, are really good. Maybe a little bit of mirror work, just, some breath work. Do you have a ritual, something that you say as soon as you put your feet on the ground, something you imagine as soon as you open your eyes? How do you actually start the day, and what do you say to yourself, before you go out? It doesn't mean that situations aren't going to come up, but I think we react very differently when we have a better connection with ourselves first thing in the morning.
Yeah, agrees. What's your morning ritual? What do you tend to do in the mornings to get your day started?
I do. I think it depends on the day and what I'm feeling that day. But it's funny because I know that obviously the day starts in the morning, but my nighttime I feel is important in terms of like what I take into the next day. So one of the most important things I do for the morning is to release the night before, which might sound a little bit back to front, but certainly releasing something that's happened in the day, releasing out, breathing it, cutting any cords with people or events that I feel have my energy, have my attention. If I feel that my head's spinning, but it's like I'm occupied. I'm like, I'm occupied. What am I occupied about? Because it's not necessarily something we're completely conscious of.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Can't do anything about it now. So release it, remove it, say thank you for this day, release all that's gone. And I feel that just going into sleep will certainly adjust and change how I, wake up in the morning. But for me, it's certainly some good breath work. I do my feet on the ground, I plant, remove my energy. I just maybe 5 deep breaths before actually getting up. One of the first things I will do is I need my lemon water, my lemon and ginger water. That's my cleansing thing in the morning. I put on my oil diffuser and I put on my incense. As soon as I have smells, and I use uplifting, things like citrus, anything citrus family, they're mood boosters, they're antidepressants, they're just things like that, thing clarifying, maybe even some peppermint and rosemary, depending on what it is. I burn my sage or my Palo Santo just to get those scents around the room. That for me is very important. And if I don't have those, I feel like I don't quite start the day completely right. Yep. Gratitude. And I want to say even a couple of things of what you're grateful for, and just setting an intention for the day.
Yeah.
I think are really, really important things. And affirmations, I think, are really, really important.
Okay.
And I think very, very powerful. Just, finding something that really works for you, depending on what you have going on in your life, and how your relationship is with yourself, with events, or with other people,
Yeah, absolutely. So if you were to give someone like your younger self a little bit of advice, something that you simply like life just doesn't function without it, would it be that morning routine? Is that the thing that just gives you life every day, or is there something else that you would say do?
I think I probably would have got.
So I'm laughing because you thought the first question was the big question.
I don't. It's hard to think back because obviously I'm trying to think, when did I not have these things? And I think how far back was that? But I think I would certainly have taken to affirmations earlier.
Okay.
And yeah, these, I suppose, these things that I now have, that I rely on, that are not my things that alter what I do. But one of the things I would have liked to head in the direction towards, and I would probably guide my younger self towards, would be yoga, would be breath work, and a personal relationship with me. Certainly much earlier. Right. I had it, but it wasn't still and steady. It was, there's a body language. There's that, and then there's that. Right. So, because I don't have quite the words for it. There's your younger self, and then there's still the same you, but with a different pace and a different ability to respond. So I think I would have liked to have introduced those things earlier because I think they would have helped younger Donna a lot.
But do you not think almost that younger Donna wouldn't have needed those things at that time, because it's only because of what younger Donna's done, and this kind of goes against what I just said,
I know.
with the Aldarian stuff, but because younger Donna's gone through, blah blah blah, it's only now that older Donna is able to appreciate all of those things.
For sure, because I don't know if people watching as well is like, you look back in your life and you have all these moments that you had the possibility of going down a particular path and being introduced. In fact, I think we talked about this on our chat. I remember I was working in a ticket office at the Albert Hall when I was 21, 22, 23, and being given certain books. At the time, I was like, oh yeah, that was a cool read. Didn't do much for me. I was like, oh yeah, that was a cool read. Like, I enjoyed it. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was given all these opportunities at a young age to come to all these different ideas and philosophies and outlooks and principles that I now really value and would preach about. And I slowly started to come to them around 26, 27, but didn't really fully start to incorporate them until 32, 33 maybe. But I was given them at 21, 22. Were handed to me in book form and conversation form. I was like, yeah, it was cool. But I very much believe you can never look back and have regrets and change anything, because you would probably make the exact same decisions again.
Yes.
Because who you are and what you are at the time. So I think that's one of the ways in which we do give our power away, is looking back and saying, I wish I had, or if only I had. You didn't, because I believe that we weren't meant to. I was supposed to come to the certain things, and I think we can apply that to a lot of things in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I wouldn't have had personally the maturity for some of the things that I've brought into my life in the last maybe 10, 12 years. When I was in my 20s, there's no way that I would have been able to. I wouldn't have appreciated it in any way. It just wouldn't have. Yeah, it just wasn't the right time. Whereas now, as I'm older, you said something earlier about your pace changes a little bit, and I don't. It's not just about it's that idea, isn't it, that, oh God, as we get older, we get so much slower, right? Oh, life is so dull. All we do is, stay in and drink tea, right? Like you and I are doing right now.
That's a great life. It's a great life.
Right? It's not a bad life. It's not a bad life. But this idea of slowing down, I would have. Oh God, I would have been so appalled at when I was in my 20s, because I did not appreciate what it really meant. I didn't appreciate how it can feel so good. We were talking just before we came on live. Donna and I were chatting just for a few minutes, and she was saying that she's got all her windows open and she's listening to the sound of the rain. And I do exactly the same thing now. There's something like it's better than telly. Just sitting in a darkened room, listening to the rain around you, breathing in that. That wonderful kind of wet earth smell that you get. When it's a rainstorm. Now, if my 20-year-old self was watching this right now, she would be going, heck. Who is this person, and what is she even talking about? I would just have missed it out of hand. It just wouldn't even have been a thing. Whereas because of I hate to sound like such a hippie yoga teacher, but because of the journey that I've been on, I now fully appreciate those things, and actually they're far more precious to me than the things that I thought I valued when I was younger.
Yeah, I think as well, like, I was like, I've always loved the smell of rain. I've always loved being in nature, but I love them, but they weren't essential. Now they're an essential part of my well-being. So I think I like them, but now they're essential. But they also add to that pace thing, I think. And it's funny, just as you were saying that about the slowing down, Bob Proctor,
yes,
who I love listening to him. He's so like dramatic and eccentric, and he has all this really, really cool wisdom. And he talks about aging, and somebody saying to him, "Don't you think it's time to slow down?" He's like, "No, no, no, don't slow down, speed up, but calm down." You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, why should we stop? Because I feel that now, much more so than when I'm younger, I have these ideas, I have these creations, I have these things I need to do, I have these things I have to do. Now, the younger me would blah, 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 blah. So this me is like, yeah, 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 but with a something different underneath it.
Yeah.
So I suppose the pace thing is about like the energy in which we sit, isn't it? As opposed to what we go for.
Yes.
So yeah, to not stop creating, to not stop doing, and if you have something, and again, sorry, I'm quoting all these people, such a quote junkie, uh, like Wayne Dyer, he said, don't die with your music still inside you.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of getting somewhere and having something that you haven't pursued, you haven't fulfilled. And I think one of the things that happens when we do get to that kind of mid to late 30s and 40s, we because society makes us look at age
Yeah.
a particular way and the opportunities of it, even if it's not, so I don't buy into that. There's no way, screw your age, screw your limitations, but that's because of the field
Yeah.
that, that I suppose you're in. So, okay, it might differ, but I think so much of it is about the attitude, how you walk, how you talk, how you present yourself, what you do accept for yourself. Because if my age is a number, my age is a limitation, there's how the person receives me. I'm the same age, I'm the same person, and if hey, my age isn't a limitation because of how I carry it. It's like how you carry your hair, how do you carry your weight, how do you carry how you dress, how do you carry your experiences? If you carry them and you own them and you truly walk with them as power and use them as opposed to a limitation, so much of that will determine how it's received. And I believe that's down to us.
That's such a message to share, though, because there are truly so many people in the world who are walking through it, and they are just a walking apology.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do is an apology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing the right thing, or I'm sorry, oh, did I offend you by showing a little bit of ankle, or I'm sorry I'm single, I'm sorry I don't have children, I'm sorry I do have children, I'm sorry. There are so many people who are just a walking apology right now, and I see it more and more in the changes that have taken place in the world since the corona lockdown, because lots of people have been kind of thrown into an arena that they're not really that comfortable with, or they're not used to doing. People who can confidently stand in front of a room of 100 people and teach a yoga class are now having to do it in front of a tiny camera.
Yeah.
And in front of that tiny camera, they are dissolving into a puddle because they just feel like they can't do it. They don't have the confidence. Uh, I'm not wearing the right clothes. I don't have the right look. I don't have the right voice. I sound terrible when I speak online, or whatever the narrative is that's going on in their head. And it's this apology all the time that it seems to be really blocking people. And I see it from my business side, not the yoga teaching, but helping
Okay.
yoga teachers and so on in their businesses. And that you have these incredible people with these amazing stories that need to be told and need to be shared. And there's people just sit down and they say, no one's going to want to hear me. No one's going to want to listen to my story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why the hell not? Why the
Mm-hmm.
hell not? And
Mm-hmm.
how do you bring that out in people? How do you break through that barrier that they've built up in their mind?
I think it's just starting with changing small daily habits, isn't it? Of things like your physicality, your physical presence, and about how the how they're linked, I suppose. So things that we say, our body will respond. However, in the same, if we change our body language, it transfers all the way back to the brain. So we feel powerful. So I think just by standing a certain way, by grounding, by holding your space and saying, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I have something to say. Yeah. All the experience that I have gone through will help somebody else in some way. I have a right to have a voice. I'm beautiful as I am. I'm powerful as I am. Just overcoming my fears and insecurities and standing in this space and owning it and being raw and vulnerable is powerful. And being that in the space of others will inspire and empower them to do the same. It's like there's this a tape on the go all the time, isn't there? So it's like, well, it's going to be going anyway. You'd be as well giving it something good to say. You know, it's like we don't get to escape the inner monologue, like it's literally non-stop. So I think, well, actually, do you know what, friend? Hi. I'm just going to give you something new to say because I really, really appreciate you, but we need to change the record a little bit. This is actually helping me. So isn't it? So it's going to be going anyway. So it's like replacing the words, which I think is. So I think if somebody is struggling to do that, it's to start changing our self-talk. Louise Hay, here I go again. Louise Hay.
You're bringing out all the big guns tonight.
It's funny, they're the oldies, and I've been thinking about them a lot recently. They're the originals, aren't they? So, not the originals, but there's a big batch of this, oh my gosh, 50, 60 years. Yeah. So she has a wonderful talk called The Power of Your Spoken Word, or Our Spoken Word. I think it's Your Spoken Word. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's so, so wonderful. She says, what is the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning? What's the last thing you say at night? Are they poverty thoughts or are they power thoughts? And I think it really is so much of what we say to ourselves. Like, if you want to change your life, you must change your talk. You must change your self-talk. And I think our self-talk is one of the biggest things, and it's one of the easiest and hardest things to address, right? Because it's ours. My gosh, it's the first thing I have to do. Awesome, let me do it. Hi, 40 years of self-talk. Right? It's like, it takes a little bit of effort, but it has to become the daily ritual, the daily routine. And I think just finding one sequence, one phrase of things that are the most important, the things where we feel that we're lacking in something, we feel that the most help, just change that. Just change that and alter that. And that's the thing. And you say to yourself, and if you find a little something else sneaking in, just repeat the next thing, repeat the next thing. And it just becomes that. Eventually it will become habit. So I think certainly starting with our self-talk, our relationship with ourselves before we even start to look at relationships with other people. Yes, but they do this. Yes, but they say that. And oh my gosh, my boss constantly this. We can't change them. The only thing we can do is, like, obviously start with our self-talk. And also, one of the things Louise Hay talks about is our compassion towards other people and realizing that every single person is a bundle, all of their various experiences, that they've had a childhood and they've had all these experiences that have made them who they are, and they're also a series of habits. Yeah. You know, and they're doing the best they can with every single thing that they have. And I think it's something I try to repeat if I find myself reacting to somebody in a very raw way rather than consciously responding, is to say everybody's doing the best they can with who they are and what they've been given in this life. So I think just to try to see people in that way and say it's actually not personal, it's not about us, they're having their own experiences. So to start with us, and then we're able to hold that. So I think our self-talk, which is changeable through affirmations, but changing your physicality, standing strong, grounding yourself, shoulders back, boobs up. So like high beams, no low beams, you know, and just taking a power stance, you know, and just that power stance will alter the chemistry in the body as well. So I think these are certainly things that I change, and I would certainly say to other people, and even from an instructor training point of view, when I was teaching the instructor trainings for Zumba, is how do you stand in front of a room? Do people have confidence in you? Are you somebody that says, I'm here, and I'm here for you, I'm here to have my experience, I won't alter myself, but I'm also here to be of service to you, because it has to be that balance as well. So it's the difference between that or this, you know, just that subtlety. So it's not about arrogance, it's about confidence and being, like you say about not being liked. It's okay not to be liked, it doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter, because you're not put on this earth to please people. You're here
Yeah.
to authentically live who
To
you are and
have
share your message.
experiences.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have there's a slogan on one of the Rebel Soulwear t-shirts, be your own kind of beautiful, which
Yes.
I just adore. I adore that phrase. I adore everything about it. And I guess in our current sort of trend in the world, it's hard to be your own kind of beautiful because we're constantly being fed. You know, you're talking about the voice that's going around in your head, the self-talk that we have, but that self-talk quite often comes from an external source. What we
Yeah.
feed inside is what fuels this nonsense that goes on in your brain. I say nonsense
Sure.
with the greatest respect because I know that it doesn't feel like nonsense to you, but it is.
Yeah. When you're
It's
in it, yeah.
yeah. But I love that, you know, be your own kind of beautiful. And I guess, you know, the question I want to ask here is how how can people live that? How would you tell people to live that?
I feel like a broken record myself here. I think one of the other things, well, is like your self-talk, to say,
Yeah,
I am beautiful, I
yeah,
am wealthy, I have abundance, I deserve to be here, I'm worthy, to be here. To say that and say, like, how do I want to dress? Because I think one of the things is, I think hair is really powerful
yeah.
for women as well, because I remember when I was younger, I had really long hair, and I went
Wish
for
I'd made
the
more effort.
cool feather cut, right? The cool feather cut, and I
Yeah.
came out with a mullet, and I was like I don't have the shoulders for a mullet, like I'm built, like the mullet doesn't work well for me, uh, and
I
and it's at the
so
time.
wish that I had a picture of you with a mullet. That would I
It
bet
really
you
does look
that
like a
would be
mullet,
worth looking at.
and and so I remember at the time I was living in London, I was auditioning, and it completely changed how I walked into a room, because I was muscular, and because I was a gymnast, and because I had a powerful physical presence.
Mhm.
I felt my hair was my femininity,
Right.
and I had lost that femininity. Um, so good. I can imagine my mum here saying, "You're not really feminine anyway." Again, my mum sitting saying that. But it's like, I suppose your physical kind of femininity, in terms of like your, I don't know, hair is such an expression for women,
Yeah.
and so it's like, wear your hair however you want to wear your freaking hair. Wear it. Don't. Who cares if there's a trend? Who cares if there's a right way to do it? It's like your expression of yourself. Because I remember at that time thinking, oh my gosh, no, never again will I alter that, or even just how people are receiving you. I turn up in my weird hippie clothes, my tie dye or my baggy something, and somebody's looks towards you, not about you. It's just uh, somebody has something within themselves. I guess it's not judgment to say, but we've got to go
Mm.
through somebody's filter,
Yes.
right? It's okay that somebody doesn't like the way you look, or thinks you look prettier
Mhm.
with your hair
A
a
different
certain
way.
way, or with or without makeup. Or who cares? It doesn't matter. It's how you
Mm.
completely express yourself, and I don't think we ever have a right to comment
No.
on what somebody's expression
Yeah.
of themselves is, because I think we've all experienced it in some way. So I think, live
Yeah.
whatever your expression is of yourself. One that I get a lot, not so much now actually, but certainly when I was younger. Oh, how are your tattoos going to look when you're older? I'm like, hot, freaking hot, actually, because I decide they're hot, not because
Yeah.
society says they're hot,
Mm.
not because a magazine comes out featuring 50 people in their 70s with cool tattoos, not because of that, because I say they're hot. So whatever you say about yourself is absolutely how you'll be received by
Yeah.
by other people.
Yeah.
So even if there could be a comment, I'm like, but it's cool. So you have to work on your opinion of yourself.
Yeah.
So if you don't like your hair, you don't like the way you're dressing, you don't like your body currently, only we can make those changes. And if you're feeling disconnected with a part of yourself, and I do it often with clothes, because I live in leggings, I'm like, I live in fitness gear. But I'm like, I'll be as well. But there are days where I'm like, I don't know me anymore. And
Yeah.
maybe this it sounds very much about image. I think it's about image. It's more so about your skin, right? Because I think your clothes are an extension of your skin and of your energy. So very much it's like, I don't know, this external representation of you. That was a lot of blurbering. What was the question?
I don't remember. But it was an awesome answer. And actually, the lovely Michelle Armstrong. Michelle, thank you so much for a little share. She's just said, honestly, I do struggle with positive self-talk, but I'm determined to keep it up. Some days it's remarkable. Love it.
But you know, I think the thing is, one of the things that I'm certainly guilty of, and I'm sure a lot of people will relate to this, is that we do it, we start it, and we're like, yeah, I'm feeling good, so we stop it.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, yeah, and then suddenly, you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, because you remember, but I was feeling so good. But we were feeling good because we had these daily habits. And I think the key is, even when you're feeling good, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. It's like if you're feeling good with the things you're putting in your mouth and suddenly you have this good day and you feel vibrant and you feel alive because of the food that you're eating and the activities that you're doing and the choices you're making and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. If suddenly you feel good and you stop all those things, it doesn't make any sense. We want to keep the things around us that make us feel good. And the same thing goes for self-talk. But I feel you. I feel, because it's something that I look at and thinking, why am I off? Oh, because it's been 3 days. I say three days. Sometimes it truly could be a month. Yeah. And I teach this stuff and I promote this stuff. But you do have moments where you think, it's like, for example, my gratitude. Every single night I'm grateful. And even if you truly don't feel you have anything in that moment, you're in a place, you're in a position where you can't grasp it. Because I get it. Not everyone's like, everyone say, oh, it's all right for you because you've never experienced. But no, everyone experiences something different. And so if you're truly in a place where you have no access to your rational self that has any kind of hope, that has any kind of clarity or light that can grasp it, just write something. Yeah. Even if it's, I'm so grateful for the eyes to see this page. I'm so grateful that I can afford this booklet. Like that's nothing to do with how amazing your life is or isn't, especially in a really, really deep, dark place where you literally have no access to that self. Just something. It's like the habits, and just keep the habit going. I think that's
habits over goals for me all the time.
Yes.
Guys, if anybody's got a question for Donna, line them up in the comments and we'll see if we can get through them. But on that subject of habits, so I made a bold declaration to the world on Sunday that throughout the month of September, I want to get my pull-up back. I had an accident about nearly 3 years ago now. It was woman versus bicycle, and I had the choice of using my hand or my face to break my fall, and I, honest to God, wish I'd chosen my face, because it would have healed so much faster than my wrist. But no, I chose my hand. I preserved the face. And it's taken the best part of about 2 years for my wrist to recover, and it's only just, I would say just now, good enough that I can start, kind of doing things again. So I'm back to doing handstands again, and different things. And I had this urge on Sunday. I was like, I want to do a pull up. Well, like wet spaghetti would have actually, that would have been a step up from what I did. It was like the most embarrassing thing, and I put it out there to the world, and I said to my group of yogis, I said, right guys, I'm putting this out there. This is my goal. September, every day in September, I'm going to do the training. By the end of this month, I want to do, it sounds like the most pitiful goal in the world, but it's really not. I want to do 2 consecutive pull-ups without quality pull-ups, right?
Yeah.
Now I am
without the swing.
Without the swing and without the little toe tap, to get myself back up there. So there's a lot going on. So this is day 2 today. Day freaking 2, everyone, internet world. Day 2. No, don't clap me.
Oh.
Because I literally did it 2 seconds before I got online with you. I posted because I said I'm going to post a video every single day, and I actually said to my mum before I did it, I said, you know, if I hadn't have put this out there and said to the world, I'm going to do this and I'm going to post it every day, 100%, I would have said, I'm too busy today, I don't have the time, I'll
Yeah.
just get back on it tomorrow. That's not even 48 hours, Donna, that I managed to to keep this
No.
going without
But
my
I think that's
mind.
common, isn't it?
It's so common, and this is why I always say to people, if you have a goal, if you have something that you're going to change, and you know, maybe Michelle, who commented earlier about, you know, maintaining that positive talk, tell someone, or tell, actually better still, tell a lot of people that you are doing something, and make yourself accountable. Get account, like, say that you're gonna email a friend every single night with 3 things that you're grateful for, and you're going to do that for the next month, and they are going to call you out if you don't do that thing every single night, because it's so easy to just get, oh, I'm too busy,
Yeah.
I've got this thing, oh, I'm a bit tired today, like there's, oh, like
Mm.
our path is littered with excuses. But if you've put it out there, or certainly my psychology works that way, if I've told the world that I'm going to do something, then, well, I kind of have to do it now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well, it's like the beginning of something always feels laborious because that's where we're having to break the habit, isn't it?
Yes.
But then it doesn't take long, I don't think, to create that new habit. And even if we're 3 days or 4 days in, because we've done it 3 or 4 days in, even if we took 2 hours to convince ourselves to do it, or we were going to do it, we got up early at 6:30 in the morning, we don't actually do it till 10:30 at 9:30. Even if that's we've still done it. So like by day 3 or day 4, you're like, I'm not going to let myself down now, isn't it? And I think it's also putting the things in that work with that. I think goals. It's funny. It's like like kind of like New Year's resolutions. Like, but I am going to, and there's a big gap.
Yes.
Between. So it's like
From
when we
where
say
you
I
are
am going to, yeah, it's like, well, the gap is suddenly the biggest thing. Whereas if we say I am, so whatever your thing is, like I am consistent, I am strong, I am, whatever those things are to say, to make ourselves do it every single day. And they say that, like, that whole thing of goals written down are like the map of the subconscious mind. Because as soon as we write it down and as soon as we say, I am, not I will, I am doing it, it's like the subconscious mind doesn't know whether we're actually doing it or not. And all the incredible evidence that's out there for that is really, really awesome. So to repeat it and to say that we're doing it and to write it down as a goal, but not a future thing, to say, I am.
Yeah.
I am strong. I am successful. I am. What's the everyone's biggest thing, like this whole idea of procrastination? Like we're
I am productive.
Yes, I am productive. And there's this really awesome meditation by Silent Journey, and it's 20 minutes, so it's quite long for a lot of people, I think, maybe who aren't
not used to
who are
it.
maybe new to meditation. But it's wonderful. So it's called Silent Journeys on YouTube, but I think you can actually download it from their website. And one of the things I like about it is that he doesn't talk a lot. He pops in every now and again and just keeps you here. So it's a little bit of breath work, a little bit of, I think, a body scan and relaxation. And then every now and again, I'll pop in. And then towards the end, he literally says, and I think he repeats it 3 or 4 times, what I am most something today, what I am most looking forward to achieving today. The way it's worded is quite nice. It's just a little bit different. What I will achieve today is. What I will achieve today is. And you insert your thing. So let's say you insert, my thing was always, at the time, productivity. Presence and productivity, because instead of being here or instead of being there, I felt that's what fueled my procrastination. So it was, I am present and I am productive. I'm present. What I would most like to achieve today is, that's how his wording is. What I'd most like to achieve today is, and mine was always presence and productivity. And it's reminded me I haven't actually done that specifically for a long time. And I had the most productive summer, and I did it every single morning without fail. And then other things come in. I have different rituals and different, but it's interesting. That was a big, big one for me. So it might be something that that works for people, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. But to say what I'm most what was the word to say?
Productive and
No,
present.
but
Oh,
achieve.
what I most want to achieve today is
Something like that. Yeah, what I mean. Today I will achieve. Today I will, and planting that something in there to help with whatever the thing is we're looking for.
Yeah. Maybe we can find a link to that and pop it
Yeah,
in
certainly
the
pop it in the
comments.
thing. I love it. It's a really good meditation.
Amazing. Anna has just said sustaining motivation is hard. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Anne. Excuse me, Anne. Yeah, I hear you, Anne. But this is why we need habits, rituals, and I think we need community. Community is.
I do think community is very important. And just keeping up on one another. Like my friend and I, she lives in Switzerland. We made a pinky promise when she was over at New Year. So New Year's Eve, whenever we try to do like a big release of everything that's gone and looking at what we're coming forward. Like as much as things that are very commercial and that have things tied to them, I'm not a huge fan of, but I do love a New Year. Like I love the of the year, the pagan New Year. So Samhain. So I always do something Halloween coming into the 1st November. That for me is the start of that year because I really follow this wheel in the circle of the year. But then again, New Year's the big one. But I think you can find any opportunity, anytime, which is why I do new moon rituals, I do full moon rituals.
Yep.
I'll look at different Sabbats throughout the year, but I'll look at different days when you look at what different philosophies believe at different months within your birth year and things. I'm like, I'll take them all, which actually means that every day has a ritual.
Amazing.
Attached to it. But I think, it's like that maintaining and sustaining kind of like that motivation can feel, I think, a little bit tricky, but I think it's just the daily habits and creating your own little ritual that works for you. Because I think what works for one person isn't always going to work for another, but be open to trying something, because what worked for me years ago is not what worked for me now, because I evolved and I changed. Yeah,
constantly. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I hate to tell you, but we've kind of run out of time. I know we could keep this up for a long time to come. If you do have any questions for Donna that you suddenly think of as we are switching off our live, then please pop them in the comments and make sure that you tag her, and she will come back and answer them. I just want to say like a massive thank you to everybody who's taken the time to comment and like and to stay with us this evening. It's just been an absolute joy. So like, oh my gosh, like what a packed night. Did you learn something? Were you inspired somehow? Just shout out in the comments and do make sure that you tag Donna or tag myself so that we can respond to you directly. And if you know someone who might just benefit from a wee cup of tea and a chat with us, then share this bad boy all over the web thingy. Next week, I'm going to be talking to the very lovely Dana Dasha of Dana Dasha Relationship Coaching. She's a dating coach, and she's going to be sharing tools to help you to tap into your feminine power, to speak from your heart, and to truly understand how we can find love even in a pandemic. And I'm not going to lie, I actually can't wait for this one. I'm super excited. So, friends, it has been an absolute joy. I mean, what a way to spend a Wednesday night. What a way to spend a full moon. What can I say? From Donna and myself, obviously, I can't speak for her, but I'm sure when I say this, thank you so much for letting us into your life for a little bit of time this evening. Thanks
for chatting
and putting the world into perspective. If you are not following Donna at the moment, then make sure that you get behind her on social. We'll put some links into the comments so that you can spend more time getting to know all the things that she does, because there is quite a list. It'll take you a while to get through all the amazing things. So
all my faffing around with life,
all her faffing in one place. So do make sure that you've got a cup of tea, and I would definitely allow you a wee biscuit with that one.
And wait, you go do a full moon ritual. Everybody that's watching.
And go and do a full moon ritual. Oh my gosh, yes.
Use the summer of the evening to literally release and to let go, write stuff down, hold it with tweezers, burn it, put it in a dish, release it, and then write out whatever you're looking to bring in for this next cycle. And howl!
Howl at the moon. Oh my God, yes, and get naked.
Don't shut your...
Yes. And don't shut your curtains. Yeah, just get naked and don't shut your curtains. Hell yes. Maybe we'll link that blog that you did on full moon ritual. I think I have a link to it. Actually, I'm going to chuck that in the comments as well. Because I know that has a really nice little explanation of a full moon ritual. So we'll make sure. I think
there's affirmations in there as well, isn't there? Is there not? I think that post I put in some.
I think there was quite a bit in it. So I'll dig that out and we'll make sure that we share it. So we've got some lovely thank yous. Thank you from various people. Rachel, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Nikki Arnold has says thank you, ladies. Donna, your wisdom is a beacon of light from all of us. I love that.
Nikki's in Arizona.
In Arizona, yes. Michelle Armstrong, thank you both. Leslie Ann, I need to say thank you to Leslie Ann because partway at the beginning, she pointed out. Now, I never normally have that. If you know me, this is not normally a problem that I have, but apparently I was very quiet compared to you, Donna. Now, nobody's ever told me, I think, in 46 years of being on this earth that I'm the quiet one, so I was a little bit surprised by that, I'm not going to lie.
It was technical, though.
Damn it. Yeah, I don't think it was anything to do with my personal volume. I think it was technical. Leslie Ann pulled me up for that one, which was great because obviously what I'm hearing in my ears and what's coming out to you guys is not great. So Leslie Ann, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Michelle Armstrong says the crystals are out already. Michelle, I don't know you, but I freaking love you. And Karen Prince, yes, Karen has, I think, comment of the evening, and she is 100% right on this. She said, make sure you post a photo of Donna and her mullet.
Donna dancing naked to her blinds.
If there's not a mullet picture getting posted in the next 24 hours, then you are not the woman that I thought you were.
Oh, I have a really old black and white headshot that is the mullet growing out. I'll find it.
You heard it here, guys. That picture is going up. I'm gonna live for that mullet. So. Yeah, listen, thank you as always. Thank you to Donna. Thank you to everybody who's commented this evening. It's an absolute joy. I will hope to see a lot of you here next week, right here on Lorna Green Yoga, for a little relationship talk with the beautiful Dana Dasha. And for now, that's all, folks. You can all go play with your crystals. Howl at the moon! Woo! Oh my God, don't get naked just yet. It's Facebook. We'll get banned. Oh my God. And the end.